This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome to the middle of September, and you all thought we were done with Dirt Oval Racing in 2019. We get one last Dirt Oval World Championship to come down off of 2019, and it is the United States Auto Club World Championship presented by Flow Racing. Season opener tonight at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway, and Tommy Rowe is going to be joining me for the season opener. We might also be joined by the one and only Chase Rodman a little bit later down the line as well. And Tommy, what a great track to start out with. It's an all-new World Championship using brand new cars we've never seen in World Championship competition before, and it's an all-new racetrack. Only had this track on the sim for a week for iRacing members to utilize, and I think it's a great mix to have coming into the season opener here for the USAC World Championship Series.
Word out throughout iRacing, this may be one of the best tracks to this point released on the iRacing Dirt World. Fairbury Speedway, brand new racetrack. Once again, you said they had 7 days to prepare for tonight's main event. 35 drivers getting set to go USAC race number 1, and what a night we should have.
So let's take a quick peek at the actual schedule these drivers will be dealing with. And Tommy, I'll be honest, I kind of look at this schedule, and it's just a schedule of bull rings. Fairbury, quarter-mile, high-bank, fast racetrack. Then we move to Kokomo Speedway. Of course, that an iconic racetrack for all sorts of USAC competition, be it sprint cars, be it midgets. Then we move to Lima Land, 3 quarter-mile bull rings to kick off the season before we head to Eldora and Knoxville in the middle of the championship. Then we get Kokomo again for week 6, Williams Grove on week 7. That's going to be our last half-miler. And then Lima Land and this racetrack right here to round out the championship. 9 races for these drivers to fight over the $10,000 up for grabs coming from USAC and Flow Racing.
Gonna be some beautiful racing to watch, especially these first 3 weeks on these bad, fast bull rings for the USAC non-wing sprint cars getting set to go around the racetrack, and we have 35 of the best drivers getting set to go. Once again, $6,000 to the winner, $10,000 in cash and prizes on the line. Should be a lot of fun to watch here tonight.
And let's take a look actually at the event format. Currently you have hot laps taking place on the racetrack at the moment, and if you've watched the first couple Dirt Oval World Championships we've had here in 2019, it's going to look a little familiar to you, isn't it? Same exact format we've had, 4 heat races. Top 4 from each heat race, Tommy, will transfer to that feature event. Drivers that are not in that top 4 will then go to the last chance qualifiers. There will be 2 last chance qualifiers out there on the racetrack for drivers to battle over. And then from that, drivers will move their way in towards the LCQs, and the top 2 from each LCQ will be what make up the field at the end of the night.
It'll be a great 20-car field to watch here tonight. 15 drivers will not make the call. All 35 in attendance right now. And Fairbury Speedway should be a fun one to watch here this evening as these drivers work their way through hot laps. Currently seeing some quick times out there. Bobby Sant Jr. on top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, Bobby Sant Jr. currently quickest in the practice as we got 15 seconds before we count down to the end of the session and get into hot laps. And let's talk a little bit about these cars, Tommy, because let's be honest, dirt track racing, most racetracks, I'd say, in the United States, if you go to a racetrack and they have sprint cars racing, it's likely going to be some mix of non-winged cars. Could be 360s, could be 410s, could even be maybe some sort of local format. But these are the kind of cars that you're likely to see at your various racetracks across the United States, rather than the winged outlaw style cars you see Now, chassis-wise, they're pretty much the same. Going to have, of course, very similar chassis underneath the cars, and it's not uncommon for a lot of drivers and a lot of team owners throughout the world, throughout the United States, to have a car that they transfer back and forth between winged and non-winged competition. But the big thing you're not going to have in these non-wing cars, no downforce and no side force coming from those front and rear wings, top wings really, that we saw in the wing cars earlier this year. That means we're going to see much slower cornering speeds, and most notably, expect these cars to be much further sideways from what we've typically seen in the wing series here, as we take a look at Josh Fox, who's currently out on the racetrack for his first time trial session of the season.
Josh Fox working his way around the racetrack out there in car
121.
Number 121 out there on the racetrack, 11,661, currently sitting in position number 5 right now. The 8 drivers that have made a qualifying attempt. Once again, 35 drivers setting a quick time and already on top of the leaderboards. Very familiar driver with the World of Outlaw Series, Alex Bergeron. We'll see if he can hold that top spot.
Alex Bergeron, a driver I know a lot of people were looking at, and he was struggling, it seemed like, coming up through the qualifying sessions and the practices. Cole Newhoffen on track right now as well. Of course, all of these drivers going to be on track simultaneously. One of the great advantages we have in the sim. You don't have to go out there one at a time. You can get the solo track by yourself, as Cole Newhoffen is going to work to the end of his first hot lap at a 12.187. That puts him about 6th or 7th quick at the moment. I believe Jeff Nevins just bumped him once again. But I think just watching these cars here, Tommy, out there on the racetrack, you can tell how sideways they're having to drive these cars, and of course not just how sideways they have to get, but the amount of throttle control that these guys are having to have in order to keep these cars underneath them. It's a much bigger ask to keep the car underneath you compared to the wing car that we saw nearly 6 months ago now.
Right foot is going to be the key here this evening. As this track slickens up, you'll see times dip down to maybe a 1.5 seconds slower as this race progresses. Fairbury has been known so far to slicken off very quickly, and these drivers will have to use a lot of throttle control throughout the heat races and the main events later on this evening. We'll see who the best one at that will be.
So if James Eden's out there on the racetrack right now, lap time for him. Graphic is set a 13.3, but he was down in the 12.0, so it's a decent lap from him, puts him about the mid-pack of the field. Still a couple cars I want to see actually go out there. One of them is this man, the 74 of Adam Elby. He's been very good in open wheel competition, was good in the late models as well. Let's see what Adam can do in his qualifying. He's going to start his first timed lap, and, well, that timed lap's not going to go the way he wants in that number 74 car, so he's going to pull it off the racetrack, and we'll likely see Adam setting up for another run here shortly here, Tommy. But through the qualifying already, we're seeing a number of drivers really struggle here with this non-wing car.
Yeah, a lot of drivers struggling. Couple of drivers may have tapped the wall there in qualifying to negate their qualifying attempt, as we see about 5 drivers yet to make a qualifying time. There you saw Adam Elby struggling to get around the racetrack as he's now going around on lap number 2. This will be his final attempt. We'll see if we're to put him on the leaderboards with his one and only lap. 12.096. That's good enough for position number 13 for Adam Elby in the 74.
Yep, so another mid-pack qualifying run for him, and he'll get off the racetrack. And still a handful of drivers we need to see run times with about 90 seconds left on the clock. The thing that's nice about this place here, Tommy, is that you can really let some time go down before you end up going out there and get a run. So like the Justin Thomas, Blake Cannon, Trey Smith, Alex Smulders, and Ryan Diat, the drivers we still need to see hop out there and do some qualifying times. 1 minute, that might, if you're used to maybe NASCAR style competition on big ovals, you don't really have that sort of long run up that you get here. 12 seconds is what these drivers are really putting down. It's actually the 24 with Zach Leonardi. We missed this. He ended up stealing quick time away from the 14 of Alex Bergeron. That's impressive to me because he came in, of course, your 2018 late model series champion, Tommy, and he typically is one that wasn't that great in the open wheel stuff. Really interesting to me that Zach Leonardi comes out first round and he puts down quick time thus far in this non-wing car.
I believe Zach Leonardi may have been the last man in these USAC qualifiers. He had to finish in the top 35 to get one of these spots into the top 35 as Blake Cannon working his way around the racetrack right now. As you see him struggling, 12.832 his best lap. He moves up to a 12.580, only good enough for position number 30. As we still have 4 drivers left to make an attempt, and they may not get it in as we have about 5 seconds left to go.
I think may not is pretty much going to go out the window, and that's going to transfer into will not right about now. So your starting grid for your very first inaugural race of the United States Auto Club Flow Racing World Championship here on iRacing. The pole position is going to get snagged by Zach Leonardi. And let's go down that starting grid for heat race number 1 right now. Zach Leonardi puts in quick time, and he will be on the inside of that front row along with Aiden Purdue on the outside of road number 1. Bobby Sant Jr. as well as Adam Elby, they'll make up road number 2. Seen a couple of those drivers in the past in these championships. They both qualify well, get themselves up into the top 4 early here tonight. Cole Newhoffen and Brett Osborne on road number 3. Trevor Royer, Anthony Lopresto on row 4, and Justin Thomas, who did not take the qualifying time, he will start in the back of the opening heat race. And I don't think that's where you want to be if you're Justin Thomas here, Tommy, because this is going to be a difficult field, I think, to maybe you transfer your way through for the first time. A lot of these drivers, of course, getting used to these cars. It's going to be, I think, a big ask for you to go from deep in this opening heat race and work your way up in the front of the field. But that said, I know Justin Thomas very comfortable in these on-wing cars.
Yeah, every one of these drivers very capable of bringing it from the back to the front. But like you said, very little time to prepare for one of these, so you never know what can happen as we get set to roll. Leave these drivers to pace around the racetrack 2 times before we turn them loose here in heat race number 1. It should be a pretty good one. Top 4 make it to the big dance. The rest will have to come from one of those last chance qualifiers.
So we'll see as the field works their way around. We currently are on the roll bar of the 131 of Bobby Sant Jr. to see him getting stacked up behind the 24. They will go by the iRacing starter stand for the first time and get ready to go green flag racing. But it's going to be this man, the Slick Simsport number 24 out there of Zach Leonardi, your 2018 World of Outlaws Late Model Series champion. And he comes out and he takes the first quick time here in the USAC Championship. Green flag is out, and we are heat racing here in USAC competition. 3 wide for the race lead immediately through corners number 1 and 2. That was Leonardi, Bobby Sant Jr., and I believe Adam Elby in that mix. No, I take that back. Elby's the car up on the top, but he immediately things get aggressive down there up front, Tommy.
Zach Leonardi pulling away. They're 3 wides for still position number 2. Adam Elby, Bobby Sant Jr., Aiden Purdue, all right there together. And here comes Leonardi on the bottom of the racetrack with the 74 of Adam Elby right there, right behind him.
These guys still working. Adam Elby trying to do everything he can. He started 4th on the grid, currently runs 2nd. Look at the bottom, though. That's the Reignition eSport driver, I believe, of Aiden Purdue. Down there on the bottom in that number 37 car, I believe that is. Off of turn 2, excuse me, and in towards 3 and 4. 3 wide now for the 2nd spot. These are all transfer spots, Tommy. So while these guys want to win, they've got to be careful.
Still 3 wide for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right now. All 3 of these drivers transfer into the main event as Adam Elby pulls up to position number 2. Purdue back to 3rd in the 37 machine with Bobby Sant Jr. holding on to that 4th and final transfer spot as they're battle back there for 5th and 6th. Cole Newhoff and Brett Osborne going to have to put a move on it, coming around to 2 laps to go this time.
Here is that fight for 2nd. Adam Elby, you just saw him dealing with that 37 of Aiden Purdue. They've swapped that 2nd position a couple times, and by just a few hundredths of a second, Aiden held it at the stripe. Up the top of the racetrack, Bobby Sant Jr. gets the wall, and he's going to be at risk of dropping out of a transfer spot, but the fight's going to be on for 2nd and 3rd. Zach and Leonardi, last time in towards 3 and 4. He's going to have the spot for now, but this time off that final corner, Leonardi will win with Aiden Purdue and Adam Elby holding on to 2nd and 3rd, and Bobby Sant Jr. after that mistake, Tommy, will just, and I say just, hold on to that transfer position.
Tapped the wall just a little bit right there. Able to hang on to it, though. Great drive by him. Cole Newhoffen's eyes lit up right there, but not able to take advantage. He'll have to come from a last chance qualifier here in just a little bit. We're getting set to go heat race number 2.
So we'll go down that starting grid for heat race number 2 right here, right now. As we take a look at the head of the field, it's this man, won the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Championship early this year, and he nearly challenged for the Late Model Championship as well. Alex Bergeron on the inside of the front row for heat race number 2. Joel Berkeley starting alongside him. We saw them do a ton of battling in the wing cars. 2nd row is going to go to Trevor Fisher and Austin Semmelman. As we move back to road number 3, Josh Fox and Hunter Connolly. As you see the field getting rolled off now for heat race number 2. Joe Quinn and Blake Cannon will make up row 4. And on row 5 is going to be Ryan Diat, the sole car on that final row. And great racing we saw in that opening heat race there, Tommy. Racetrack looks very good, drivers looked very good, but also very aggressive. That's the sort of racing you want to see in these non-winged cars early in the night, especially when this track is nice and tacky.
Did some great 3-wide racing in heat race number 1. Expect to see the same right now as you got Australia and Canada on the front row set to lead them to the green right here at a turn number 4 as we get set to go heat race number 2.
We ride on board just behind the helmet of the 18 car of Austin Semmelman. Listen to that 410 V8 throttle up as they work through 1 and 2. Ripping the top is him and the 9 of Joe Berkeley. And Joe Berkeley will slide into the race lead out there in front of Alex Bergeron. Bergeron goes to the top side of the racetrack, now on the 14 rather than the 12 that we've become so accustomed to seeing him. Look down there on the bottom. It's the 16 car of Trevor Fisher down the back straightaway and in towards 3 and 4. The 14 of Bergeron trying to get that lead back, but Berkeley has picked it up and he's opening up a gap already.
Alex Bergeron with a big slide jump into turn number 1 and 2 as Berkeley will cross him back over. Bergeron to the top of the racetrack, and he'll try it once again down the front straightaway.
Alex Bergeron doing everything he can, slides up in front of Joe Berkeley, gives the spot to the 9 car, or excuse me, the 14 car of Alex Bergeron. 3 and 4 once again, slider given right back from Joe Berkeley. They're nearly 3 wide for the race lead. Is down on the bottom. Trevor Fisher is giving him everything he has. 3 cars, all fighting for the race win in heat race number 2. Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again. And you see Mr. Joe Berkeley just gets a little bit of a tap there from Fisher down there on the bottom, in towards 1 and 2, over half distance in this second heat race. And the 14 of Bergeron is pushing to try to get up to the 16 of Fisher.
Coming around at 2 laps to go this time, Trevor Fisher finds himself in the race lead as Berkeley and Bergeron battle it for position number 2. Semmelman holding on to the final transfer spot. Bergeron going to try for the race lead one more time.
Here comes the 9 car of Joe Berkeley. Bergeron settles into 3rd for the moment, tries to get up the run off that final corner, doesn't quite get it. White flag this time around the racetrack, through 1 and 2 for the final time. Berkeley trying to set up the move in towards 3 and 4. Slider gets thrown from the 9 and off of turn 4. Who's it going to be? Drag race. We saw a drag race last night at the Indianapolis in the eNASCAR Peak Freeze iRacing Series race, and this time it's Joel Berkeley who wins it off of turn number 4. He will win your second heat race. Says punch for punch, that was one of the most exciting heats I have ever seen. Let's take a peek at the race results for heat race number 2. You see Joe Berkeley taking the victory. Trevor Fisher, Alex Bergeron, and Austin Semmelman, they will be your transferees to go directly to the main event. And then it's going to be the likes of Joe Quinn, Ryan Diat, Blake Cannon, Hunter Connolly, and Josh Fox. They'll have to do it a little bit later on here, Tommy, in the LCQs. But man, oh man, this racetrack and these cars are putting on one heck of a show here tonight for the season opener.
If you're not a race fan of this type of racing, then you may not be the best type of race fan. As we get set to go heat race number 3, the first 2 races have been absolutely phenomenal, and we're getting set to go 9 more drivers for heat race number 3. 2 more heat races, including this one coming right up.
Let's go down your starting grid, the 9 cars that'll be kicking off heat race number 3. So starting grid is going to be out in front. It's going to be Brendan Rogers as well as Cole Cabrera. You're going to be seeing Cole Cabrera tomorrow night as well in your eNASCAR Ignite Series finale at Martinsville. And with Colton Hardy and Bob King setting up row number 2. Row 3, you're going to have Rusty Kruger. We saw him have some exciting racing, let's say, in the Wing Series with Lewis Hewitt on the outside of him on row number 3. James Tiernan and Matt Howard on row number 4 with Trey Schmidt rounding out your 9-car field for heat race number 3. So drivers, I believe, would have already gotten the 1-to-go signal, and you can see the safety truck heading to the safety of the pit area. The 20 of Brendan Rogers in command this time, but the 12 of Cole Cabrera is going to keep him honest, and here we go. Cole Cabrera, he won the Race Spot TV Chili Bowl earlier this year, and he's going to try to set up the move up top on the 20 of Brendan Rogers in towards 3 and 4 for the first time. The bottom's going to be there for the 20 at the moment, and Cole Cabrera will settle into P2.
Cole Cabrera, he's going to hold on to position number 2. Rusty Kruger, Bob King right now side by side for positions number 3 and 4. As the top 2 will pretty much pull away. It's Rusty Kruger, Bob King. Bob King, he'll take it to the top of the racetrack. And here comes Trey Smith, 3-car dance for the 4th and final transfer spot.
Look at the 5K there of Rusty Kruger. We're making that bottom work. Got Swindell Speedway sponsorship on the side of that car this year and in this championship. And what a run for Rusty. He wasn't all that comfortable to win cars, but this suits him. He does USAC and CRA broadcasting up in Northern California, 3 wide. Back here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And Rusty's getting the best of it at the moment. Up top, down there on the bottom, though, inside of him, it's going to be, that's the 22 of Trey Schmidt. That's from 9th on your grid, Tommy. 9th up to a transfer spot for the 22 of Trey Smith.
Great drive by the 22 of Trey Smith as Rusty Kruger tries to work the top groove right back around him. He'll pull back up to position number 3. And now here comes the 3, the Aussie of Lewis Hewitt right there as well. We'll see if he can't get the run coming around to the white flag this time.
2 to go, this time in towards 1 and 2, so they'll be seeing it off of 3 and 4 right here, right now. Here we go. It's becoming the transfer spot fight. As Tommy said, Rusty Kruger a little loose. That's going to catch up Lewis Hewitt. He's going to drop out of this heat race and out of contention. That brings in the 98 of James Tiernan to fight with the 22 of Trey Schmidt for 3rd and 4th. Brendan Rogers and Cole Cabre will finish line astern, and it's going to be the 98 who, off of one mistake there, Tommy, Rusty Kruger loses out on a transfer position.
Oh, James Tiernan on the outside looking in all the way to the very final lap, somehow finds himself into the main event. The rest of these drivers have to come from the last chance qualifier. What a great drive by Brendan Rogers, able to take the win over 2 seconds over Cole Cabre in heat race number 3. Just pure domination right there.
So let's take a peek. Starting grid, heat race number 4. Things have been exciting, and this is one man I know who's been really looking forward to this championship. Starting on the inside of the front row, Skylar Brown alongside the Slick Sinsport number 49 of David Heilman on that front row. We have seen some fantastic drives from both of those drivers in the past. James Edens on the inside of row 2 along with Jeff Nevins on that second row. Row number 3 is going to be Chase Cabre and Vinny Sansone. We saw Chase win a race in the Outlaw Series in the Wing Cars earlier this year. Can he maybe pick one up here tonight for Swindell Speed Labs Esports? Row number 4 going to be Nathan Davis and Alex Smolders, and then that is going to be it for heat race number 4 as the field works down the back straightaway and in towards those corners for what should be, I believe, their second time. Safety truck already to the safety of pit road, so it's going to be Team VLR's Skylar Brown bringing him to... Oh, nope, I take that back. They're just giving a big berth there, Tommy. I thought that safety truck had already come down pit road. I called that about a quarter of a mile early.
All right, getting set to go green. Next time out of turn number 4, VLR, Skylar Brown on the inside. Slick Sim Sports, David Heileman, the Heilemaniac on the outside, coming to green right here. Top 4 transfer, 4th at final heat race. We're green.
Skylar Brown's going to hold the lead, but we've seen the fights be so good from the drivers, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. 3 wide already in your mid-pack, and Skylar Brown getting assaulted by the 49 of David Heileman. 3 and 4 for the first time, trying to slide up is the 49 of David Heileman, but can't quite do it. Sort of back down to that move. In towards 1 and 2, Skylar Brown into the wall up top as they work down the back straightaway. The 49 of David Heileman will slip into your race lead.
Heileman makes the move right there. Skylar Brown slips up on the cushion a little bit, not able to quite stick it. He'll try to take it back to the top of the racetrack, try to make that move, get the run on David Heileman. 1st and 2nd right now. James Edens 3rd, and Chase Cabre up to position number 4, the 4th and final transfer spot as 4 drivers pull away. We got a car upside down.
So car upside down, this could be the end of their heat race. Unfortunately, it was Alex Smolders who's going to be on the wrong side of the drama. I'm sure if you asked him, fight for the race lead, still hot though, between David Heileman and Skylar Brown. Skylar made that mistake, but he is not falling off the rear of the 49 of Heileman. That said, he falls into the outside retaining wall, and now he might just fall down the order, Tommy.
Contact right there between the race leaders. Just good hard racing. David Heileman now able to pull away. Skylar Brown hanging on for position number 2. James Edens, Chase Cabre right there together with Jeff Nevins. Little contact between those drivers as we stay green. Coming around, it'll be 2 laps to go next time by.
Popsicle sticks as they work in towards 1 and 2. Skylar, he's already found the wall, but he's not afraid of running the top regardless of that fact. 10 cars, in towards 3 and 4, still running the top. The Heilemaniac running the middle here, seeing the white flag this time. Past the iRacing starter stand, in towards 1 and 2. Can Skylar maybe make some sort of miracle happen? A little loose is that 49 of David Heileman, but I think he's just going to hold on to it for heat race number 4. He'll see the checkered flag this time quite comfortably with Skylar Brown, James Edens, and it should be Chase Cabre who will round out your transferees And man, oh man, Tommy, I hope this racetrack stays this good for the rest of the night. Because if we see what we just saw in the mains, we're going to be in for one of the best shows I think we've seen all year for iRacing World Championship competition.
Some of the best heat races I've probably seen right there in quite a long time on the iRacing circuit. Notice these lap times as well. These drivers run around the 13-second bracket. They qualified in the 11.8 to low 12-second range, so this track is slickened off to where these drivers are running just about a second and a half slower than they were in qualifying, and it's made for some great racing thus far. We'll get set to go. Last chance qualifier number 1.
Yep, we'll go over the format once again real quick. These next couple races you see, the 12-lap LCQs, there are a pair of them. The top 2 finishers in each one will get their chance to race in the 30-lap main event at the end of the night. Let's look at the starting grid for LCQ number 1. It's going to be Cole Newhoffen and Rusty Kruger on that front row. Rusty looked fast, but can he keep it out of the wall and off of his lid? Brett Osborne and Colton Hardy on row number 2, with Justin Thomas and Lewis Hewitt on row number 3. Moving now in towards your mid-pack, Anthony LaPresto and Matt Howard going to make up row 4 in 7th and 8th. Then at the tail end of the field, it's going to be the 90 of Trevor Royer rounding out the field for LCQ number 1. Any predictions for this one here, Tommy? I think Rusty of this group, he looked quickest, but can he have the consistency he needs to get it done?
Rusty Kruger looked great in his heat race, just a couple of moves short of transferring. He'll start on the outside. The front row seems to be the best starting position thus far for some of these drivers. As we go green, Cole Newhoffen, he'll lead them down the front straight away to turn number 1.
See these guys really moving all over the racetrack already. The fight for second is what you want to watch. That's going to be the transfer spot. Rusty Kruger holds it for now, and I think it's Brett Osborne down there on the bottom. He's seeing a run in the middle in that 99 car. He'll nearly have the spot as they get to the timing beam for the first time, but it went to Rusty Kruger by about a 1/10 of a second. The 11 of Cole Newhoffen, he leads now in what is definitely a Steve Kinzer themed car in that green and silver number 11, but he's not opening up a big gap here, Tommy. He still needs to be worried. He's got a lot of aggressive guys wanting to hunt him down and take that lead away.
Newhoffen looks like he's struggling running the very slick cushion here at Fairbury Speedway as I do believe that is Colton Hardy. No, that's Brett Osborne. He'll try to slide up into the second and final transfer spot that Rusty Kruger has. Osborne wants it as Cole Newhoffen still showing the way. Coming around, it'll be 4 laps complete, 8 laps to go for Newhoffen.
Also 8 laps, of course, to go for Rusty Kruger as well. Here, I'm working that throttle off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway. The 11 makes a little bit of a mistake. Your top 2 make contact in 3 and 4. And oh, Rusty Kruger gets tagged. It's a big aggressive slide from the 99 of Brett Osborne. And one of your drivers who was just leading Rusty Kruger going to get buried in the mid-pack. And I don't think he's going to be able to work his way out of this in 6 laps time, Tommy.
The Aussie Lewis Hewitt, he's worked his way up to second for the race lead. Newhoffen gets into the wall, and now that'll allow Osborne to go to the race lead. Lewis Hewitt up to second, 3 wide now.
3 wide for your race lead. How's this going to end? Not well is the answer. Lewis Hewitt gets tagged, and there's cars all over the place toward the tail end of the field, and your top 2 off of turn 4 is going to turn into Cole Newhoffen and Lewis Hewitt. Justin Thomas, who is buried in your mid-pack, suddenly he finds himself 3rd, praying for a mistake from either of these top 2, coming to 4 to go.
4 laps to go. Lewis Hewitt holding on to the second and final transfer spot. He's been a second ahead of your 3rd place driver, Justin Thomas, trying to run him down, working the bottom of the racetrack. Cole Newhoffen still hanging on for dear life as your race leader, trying to make it in as they come around. It'll be 2 laps to go next time by.
2 to go. Coming up here is Cole Newhoffen and Lewis Hewitt. They've really settled it down with the way this field is sort of attritioned out and the fact so much of their competition has fallen by the wayside. Don't want to get over aggressive now and throw an easy transfer away to a white flag this time when they come off of turn 4 in towards 3 and 4 for the penultimate time right here. Lewis just in the tire tracks of that number 11 of Cole Newhoffen. Final time in towards 1 and 2 for LCQ number 1, and these guys are going to get themselves ready, get themselves set up for a heavy fuel load and a 30-lap main event off of turn 4 for the final time. Cole Newhoffen will win here in LCQ number 1, and Lewis Hewitt will round out your transferees, finishing in that 2nd spot. A lot of heartbreak in that LCQ, Tommy. I think notably the 5K of Rusty Kruger coming home in 6th. He's probably feeling he got the short end of the stick there on that one.
Brett Osborne as well in the 99. Those 2 drivers weren't battling for a transfer spot early on. A little bit of contact cost them both dearly and allows Lewis Hewitt to sneak in there from 6th to 2nd in the last chance qualifier number 1. And he'll make the show But try to chase $6,000 this season, and he'll start well to make tonight's main event.
So here we go. One more last chance qualifier before we go 30-lap main event racing, and let's go down your starting grid for this one. It's going to be Joe Quinn from D1RT and Jeff Nevins of RNS Motorsports out on the front row at the head of the field. Ryan Diat and Nathan Davis going to be on row number 2. Blake Cannon and Vinny Sansone on row number 3, with Hunter Connolly and Alex Smolders on row 4. Josh Fox and Bob King on row number 5. And towards the back, actually, that is going to round out the 10-car field here for LCQ number 2, as the field's going to get pushed off. And any predictions for this one, Tommy?
I can't predict anything after watching that last chance qualifier number 1. Like you saw, anything can happen, and I'm expecting it to happen right here again, as well as you got some fast drivers towards the middle and towards the back of the field as well. Bob King starting dead last here in last chance qualifier number 2. Had a great run in this heat race going on, battling for a transfer spot. Unfortunately, a little bit of contact, and it's going to cause him to start dead last in this last chance qualifier. Once again, a lot of great names, a lot of fast drivers here in last chance qualifier number 2 getting set to go at it. Anything can happen.
So here we go, coming off of turn 4. We're going to ride on board with the 80th Vinny Sansone for the start of this LCQ. He's on the outside of your third row as they pick up the throttle when they see that green flag from the starter stand in towards 1 and 2 for the first time. See, through the middle goes that number 44, Blake Cannon, trying to make the move stick. Good aggressive move here early from that 44, Blake Cannon. Now he goes to the top, trying to pick up spots as the fight for the lead is on. And after the opening lap, it's going to be at the end of lap 1. Joe Quinn just holds on to it.
Joe Quinn holds on to it as the 00 of Jeff Nevins threw it in there pretty hard. Now here comes Ryan Diatti up to the lead. Little bit of contact right there. He'll lose it as Blake Cannon goes around everybody, and he'll try to pull away now.
All sorts of people. You see one car getting halfway sent around there in the mid-pack. Just too many cars into 1 and 2 there, Tommy. And actually, Vinny Sansone, he's tangling with someone up there on the top side of the racetrack as well. And that's allowed the 44 of Blake Cannon from 5th on the grid. 4 laps into this, he has an 0.8 of a second lead in LCQ number 2.
Joe Quinn in the 901 holding on for dear life as Jeff Nevins in the 00 trying to run him down. Then they're about a second back for position number 4 as the battle for the second and final transfer spot is on. The 00 wants it. Joe Quinn has it. Who's going to get it here into turn number 3 and 4 now?
00 gets a run off turn 4 and in towards 1 and 2 here for what's going to be the 6th lap of 12. They'll be seeing cross flags next time fast start finish, nearly 3 wide with Nate Davis, who ends up 3 wide as they slide in towards 3 and 4. Tried to back out of it, wasn't able to do so. And oh, he clips one of those tires down there on the bottom. That's going to take Nathan Davis out of it, and that's going to keep, I think, Joe Quinn just in contention for the moment for that second and final transfer spot. And he's got about 8 or 9 car lengths off the back of Jeff Nevins, who now needs to try and reel that in once again and only have about 5 laps to do so.
Battle is on. Actually, Bob King, driver told you to keep an eye out on, started in 10th, has made his way up, challenging for position number 3. We'll have just a couple of laps left to go to try to run down Joe Quinn for the third and second and final transfer spot. We'll see if Bob King in the 51, the Aussie driver, can do it here in the second last chance qualifier.
Couple of laps to go for Bob King to maybe somehow, some way put the miracle run together, come from last in the starting grid and get his way into the transfer spot in towards 3 and 4, coming towards 2 laps to go. And actually Joe Quinn, he gets the wall and he gets upside down, and that's going to move Bob King into the transfer spot he wanted.
Hard break for Joe Quinn in the 901, a little bit too high on the cushion, into the wall, and Bob King from dead last is up to the final transfer spot here in last chance qualifier number 2. Coming around, I do believe this is a white flag.
White flag this time as they hit off of turn 2, and the 51 of Bob King gets the wall and he gets tight. Blake Cannon should win this LCQ, but who's going to be the second transferee off of turn 4? Bob, don't tell me you threw it away on the final lap drag race, and at the stripe, it's going to be Josh Fox who steals it from Bob King, who made a last lap mistake after running his way up the order so well. Bob King gonna be completely heartbroken as a result of that one. Blake Cannon and Josh Fox will run the main event. Bob King, Jeff Nevins, Alex Smolders, Ryan Diat, Vinny Sansone, Nathan Davis, Joe Quinn, and Hunter Connolly, they will be on the outside looking in, Tommy. That has to feel horrible for Bob King.
Heartbreak for Bob King. Great drive for Josh Fox, able to keep it smooth enough. Those two drivers started in the back row. Those are your 9th and 10th place starters in last chance qualifier number 2. And it came down to the very final corner to see who would take it. And Josh Fox was able to hang on to it as Blake Cannon showed the way. 2-second win over Josh Fox. Bob King, Heartbreak Hotel on the final lap.
That it definitely was. We are going to take a short break here, ladies and gentlemen, on RaceSpot TV and on the iRacing Esports Network, but do not go away. In approximately 3 minutes' time, we will be feature racing here for the first time in the USAC World Championship presented by Flow Racing here on iRacing. Do not go away.
This Friday and Saturday night, it's a USAC National Sprint Car doubleheader. This Friday, September 13th, the AMSOIL USAC National Sprint Car Series heads to the action track in Terre Haute for the Jim Herdem East Classic. On Saturday, September 14th, the series heads to Tri-State Speedway for the annual $10,000 to win Hobstadt Hustler. It's a doubleheader weekend you don't want to miss. Can't make it to the track? Watch both nights live on Flow Racing.
It has been an exciting race here for the USAC season opener of the World Championship presented by Flow Racing here around Fairbury American Legion Speedway, an all-new circuit for these guys to do battle on. Hot laps have been opened up for about a minute and a half here. They have 30 seconds to go, and I am going to take you down at your starting grid for the main event when they are eventually finished, and then it will be Chase Rodman and Tommy Rowe to broadcast your 30-lap main event here in the season opener at Fairbury. What a run we have seen thus far tonight. These non-wing cars, everyone knew that they were going to be a shakeup from what we have traditionally seen in this series, but I don't think anyone could have predicted the level of drama and the level of great racing we have seen here today. But the clock will count down to 0 for all 20 of these drivers. Put 30 laps on the board, and 20 of the best get ready to do battle. And here comes your starting grid for the feature event right now. On the pole position, it's going to be your 2018 World of Outlaws late model series champion. We've not seen him be strong in open wheel typically, but he looks pretty dang good tonight. It is going to be Zach Leonardi at the head of the field on the outside of that front row. Joel Berkeley will be lining up alongside him. We've seen him be great in the wing cars. He looks pretty good when you take all the aero off him too. Brendan Rogers and David Hyleman, the Hylemaniacs, will make up row number 2, an action second row with Aiden Perdue and Trevor Fisher making up row number 3. Cole Cabre and Skylar Brown, they were both ecstatic in their heat races and they look fantastic. Look for them to move up through this 30-lap feature. Adam Elby and Alex Bergeron will make up row 5 with Trey Schmidt and James Edens on row number 6. Row 7 is going to be Bobby Sant Jr. and Austin Semmelman. Row 8, James Tiernan and Chase Cabre. Cole Newhoffen and Blake Cannon on row number 9. And rounding out your 20-car field will be Lewis Hewitt and Josh Fox. The field is getting pushed off. We are ready, and Chase Rodman, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Randy. It's great to be here tonight, guys. Sorry about all the problems that we've had, but I'm glad to be here to fill in for Randy as we've had some issues behind the scenes, but we're ready, man. Zach Leon Hardy and Joel Berkeley set in the front row. Tommy, you got any predictions? I know Randy's asked you a few times tonight, but what do you think about the racing so far? What do you think we're going to see here in these next 30 laps?
Oh my goodness, the racing has been beautiful in the heat races. I'm not going to predict anything just because anything can happen in these wingless sprint cars, and we saw some of the best heat racing we've probably seen in a long time on the iRacing circuit in the last 4 heat races. And the last chance qualifiers getting set to go green right here, Chase.
Yeah, here we go. Green flag is in the air. The first race of the year for the USAC. Sprint cars on iRacing.com is green, and in turn number 1 is going to be Zach Leon Hardy sliding up to the cushion off turn number 2. We got Berkeley into the wall off turn number 2. It sounds like he's falling way to the back of the field. We're going to stay green, though, and Zach Leon Hardy looks like he's going to come around the lead lap number 1.
Leonardi leading lap number 1. A lot of pressure right there from the 49 of David Holloman, who's going to try to dive down to the bottom of the racetrack on the back straightaway, as Leonardi still able to hold him off. David Holloman right on the back bumper, going to try to cross him over onto turn number 4.
Your 4th place car, Trevor Fisher, tags the wall right there off turn number 4, hangs on to it, maintains that 4-spot slider for the lead. Here comes Heilemann. They make contact, and here comes Brendan Rogers down to the inside. And Rogers will take the lead at turn number 3.
David Holloman, David Holloman tags the wall as well. He'll lose a lot of spots from that, as Adam Elby now moves up to position number 2, as Brendan Rogers showing the way. Just about a second is the distance between him and first and second now.
Adam Elby is on the move right now, Tommy. He's started 9th. He's up to 2nd in just 5 laps now as they cross the start-finish line. 25 to go. This race is going to go by very quickly if we stay green. It's Brendan Rogers up front, followed by Adam Elby. Then it's Zach Leon Hardy, Alex Bergeron, and Aiden Purdue, your top 5. Elby's down low while your leader, Brendan Rogers, works the outside cushion through one, and the caution's out, Tommy.
Adam Elby working the bottom of the racetrack beautifully before that caution came out. Not sure who it's on as we come our very first caution here.
Yeah, it looks like possibly the 52 car, James Edens, got tagged from behind by Bobby Sant Jr. and got a little bit sideways. Actually, it looks like, oh yeah, it was the 52 of Edens. He got collected with another driver. It looked like James Tiernan there. So first caution waves are on lap number 6, and things were already getting pretty crazy there at the front of the field.
Pretty good racing right there. It's got a Brendan Rogers actually stretched his lead out just a little bit right there. He's probably not liking the caution early on. Once again, Chase, $6,000 going to the winner of the series. All starts here tonight. Definitely want to be one of those top 3 drivers at the end of the season, as a lot of money being paid out for this series.
And not only that, $6,000 to win it, but how about the cool thing that the guys at USAC and Flow Racing are doing? They are presenting a 2-day deal with Corey Cruzman Sprint Car and Midget Driving School at Ventura Raceway to let these guys, whoever wins the championship, go out and actually test, a non-wing sprint car, possibly a midget out there at Ventura Raceway. So that is an awesome thing to do. I mean, if you don't know who Corey Cruzman is, man, he's got 15 career USAC National Sprint Car wins and 35 with the USAC CRA Sprint Cars. So Cruzman, definitely a guy you want to be learning from as far as these race cars go. We're going green next time by, it looks like. Actually, we're going green right now. Brendan Rogers leads the field at turn number 1. He goes back to the cushion. Adam Elby's right behind him in the yellow number 74 car down the front, or the back straightaway.
All these drivers take it up to the cushion. Go back to position number 5. As you see, the 37 of Aiden Purdue. He's the first one on the bottom of the racetrack. The rest of these drivers running the top right now, as Brendan Rogers, he's able to pull away just a little bit from Adam Elby that time.
Here comes the 12 now, or the 14, I should say, of Alex Bergeron down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to find a way by Zach Leon Hardy. Behind them, the 5th place car of Aiden Purdue just tagged the wall. Now he gets a shot from behind from the 9 car, of Joel Berkeley. Berkeley got into the back of him, with the battle for seconds heating up right now at the front of the field.
Alex Bergeron, he's on the very bottom of the racetrack, making it 3 wide for the lead as Joel Berkeley gets turned around. We stay green, and now the yellow comes out.
Yeah, the yellow comes out. It looked like the 37 car of Aiden Purdue got tagged by, I believe, the 22 car of Trey Schmidt. Yep, he got him entering turn 3, and they all stacked up behind him.
Heck of a save by Joel Berkeley. Spins it around on his own, able to keep it going. But like you said, the 37 Aiden Purdue, a lot of contact with him, brings out the yellow. Good racing, good 3-wide racing right now for the lead. Brendan Rogers just able to pull away, and they're 3-4 wide, almost right behind him, as Rogers able to pull away, and those drivers putting on a show right behind him.
Yeah, now crossing under yellow right there. That's 15 down and 15 to go this time. So we got 15 laps to go here in this first main event of the season for the USAC Sprint Cars on iRacing.com. Brendan Rogers leads over Adam Elby, Alex Bergeron, Zach Leon Hardy, Trey Schmidt, David Heilemann, the 9 of Berkeley, and it looks like the 12 car of Cole Cabray, the 44 Blake Cannon, and Aiden Purdue right now rounds out your top 10. But like you said, Tommy, fantastic racing so far in this one. It's just I'm not surprised to see a couple of cautions. These are the hardest cars to drive on this iRacing service, if I do say so myself. The pace car's off. We're coming to green this time by Brendan Rogers off the cushion, off turn number 4, down to the stripe. We're back to green here at Fairbury.
Green flag is back out. Rogers with a great start this time, and here comes Bergeron to the bottom of the racetrack, looking for position number 2 at a turn number 2. Bergeron able to hold the bottom, and he'll move up to second now.
The bottom is really good right now, Tommy. Here comes the 14 of Bergeron. He makes it by Adam Elby. It's just so tricky down there. You got to keep the left rear tire down in the moisture. You don't want to hit one of those tractor tires either. Bergeron pulls up next to Rogers off turn 2, but Rogers with momentum maintains the race lead. It's about to get spicy up front. Here they come, Tommy.
Rogers taps the wall just a little bit right there. That allows Bergeron to pull almost dead even side by side, working the bottom of the racetrack, coming around to complete lap number 19 next time by. It'll be 11 to go. Alex Bergeron looking for the race lead now.
It looks like he's going to have it at the start-finish line. New race leader on lap number 20. The yellow's out, but Alex Bergeron takes the lead. 2 cars at the back, Blake Cannon and I believe Bobby Sant Jr. getting together there to bring out the caution with just under 10 laps remaining. I didn't quite see what happened. I'm going back and watching it right now. It looks like it looks like the 44 car just spun out and the 131 got into him.
At 44 with a little bit of help right there, and those 2 drivers get collected, nowhere to go. But nonetheless, we're 10 laps remaining here in the first main event for the USAC World Championships presented by FlowRacing.com. Alex Bergeron, great drive, 10th to the lead, working the very bottom of the racetrack beautifully.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he does here on this restart there, Tommy. Obviously, he took the lead down on the bottom, but it looks like it's super easy to make a mistake down there. So not sure if Bergeron's going to play it safe, and I don't even know if it's safe going up to the top of the racetrack. We've seen these guys bouncing the right rear off the concrete. So either way right now, around the Fairbury Speedway, it is not looking too safe to to tread anywhere. So the 12 car, or the 14 of Bergeron, excuse me, I'm interested to see what he does here in this first corner on the restart.
Lap times are dropped down very significantly here in the main event. 11/8 is where these drivers were in qualifying. We're running right at the 14-second bracket. 13.7 is the best lap for Alex Bergeron here in the main event. These drivers running 13.7s all the way in the 14.1s and 2s here in the main event. Green flag is back out. Bergeron back on the gas, and he'll take it back down to the bottom in turn number 1 and 2 again.
Yep, the 14 to the bottom, the 74 of Elby is going to follow just behind, and Brendan Rogers going to keep the 20 car up top on the cushion right behind Elby. It's a big old train. Oh, your leader hits the infield tire. I just talked about it there, Tommy. Alex Bergeron just hit the tractor tire and spun it around. The caution's back out.
Oh, tough break for the 14 machine. Let's go back and take a look at that one more time. Just working the bottom of the racetrack, gets down just a little too low. Going into turn number 3 and 4 and collects that tire and loses the race lead.
Yeah, a huge mistake there for the Competition Suspension Incorporated number 14 car of Alex Bergeron, the 2019 World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car champion, getting collected there with a tractor tire, and that's going to hand the lead right back to the 20 car of Brendan Rogers. Zach Leon Hardy now moves to second. Adam Elby, David Heileman, and Cole Cabre right now your top 5. We're going to have a 3-lap shootout when we go back green.
Great drive. Great drive back once again for Zach Leonardi in car number 24. Fell back just a little bit with contact earlier on. He's drove back up to second. Your former World of Outlaw Late Model Series champion trying to get up here and lead and win this first main event for the USAC Championship Series. I do believe Leonardi was one of the last qualifiers in top 35 and points, was able to make it in. Leonardi right there on the bubble. So he goes from the bubble to competing for a race win here in race number 1.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see how that works out here. Looks like we're going green this time by, Tommy. Going to be actually a 2-lap shootout here. We're going to come back to green. We're going to cross and get lap 29, then we'll have the white flag the next time by. It's Brendan Rogers, Zach Leon Hardy, Adam Elby. Who will put their name in the history books as the first winner with the United States Auto Club on iRacing.com? We're about to find out. We're back to green. Brendan Rogers leads him into turn number 1.
Brandon Rogers leading him into turn number 1 and 2 for the, I do believe, 2 laps to go this time. Leonardi right there on his back bumper going into turn number 3 and 4. We'll see if he'll throw the big slide jump or if he'll wait one more lap. As here comes Elby on the bottom of the racetrack. White flag will be in the air next time by.
Here comes the 24 to the inside. The white flag's out. Here he comes, Tommy. The 20 back down to the inside. The checker's coming this time by. You're going to lead him to the top. Zach Leon Hardy slides up the racetrack. Oh, Brendan Rogers keeps his foot in the throttle, and he's going to win it off turn number 4. Brendan Rogers wins the season opener with the United States Auto Club on iRacing.com here at Fairbury. What a finish to this one.
Oh, what an exciting finish right there. Rogers able to hang on for dear life. Leonardi gave it everything he had. David Heileman comes back up to score position number 3. Adam Elby 4th, and Cole Cabrera round out your top 5. But a beautiful drive right there from Brendan Rogers, able to hang on to it.
Yeah, that was a close call there off that 4th corner. I thought the 24 of Leon Hardy might try and drive it in a little bit deeper and clear him all the way, but Rogers, he made a last split-second decision there to try and drive around him on the outside, and it almost cost him. They wheeled each other, but he's able to get to the line first, and Rogers will pick up the win. Behind Cole Cabre, 6th spot was Trey Schmidt, 7th was Aiden Purdue, 8th was the 9 of Joel Berkeley, 9th was the 52 car James Edens, 10th was Josh Fox, 11th was Austin Selman, 12th was Chase Cabre, 13th Blake Cannon, 14th Lewis Hewitt, 15th was Alex Bergeron after getting into that tractor tire while leading, 16th was Bobby Sant Jr., 17th was James Tiernan, 18th was Cole Newhoffen, 19th Skylar Brown, and in 20th, the final spot was Trevor Fisher. We'll be right back. We're going to talk to our top 3 finishers. We're going to throw it to an ad real quick. We'll be right back here on Race Spot TV.
Friday and Saturday night, it's a USAC National Sprint Car doubleheader. This Friday, September 13th, the AMSOIL USAC National Sprint Car Series heads to the action track in Terre Haute for the Jim Herdem East Classic. On Saturday, September 14th, the series heads to Tri-State Speedway for the annual $10,000 to win Hobstadt Hustler. It's a doubleheader weekend you don't want to miss. Can't make it to the track? Watch both nights live on Flow Racing.
We are back here at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. Round number 1 of the USAC iRacing Sprint Car Series is in the books, and your winner tonight is going to be Brennan Rogers after an incredible drive off the 4th corner. A gutsy one, that is. He will take the victory, and we are now standing by with the winner of the first ever iRacing USAC race here on the Race Spot TV. Brennan Rogers, we're standing by with him now. Brennan, you are the first ever winner with this series. How are you feeling right now, buddy? That was a pretty incredible last corner there.
I'll tell you what, Rod, I'm sweating bullets. I still can't believe it. That track was like soap on linoleum, but worse. I mean, even that you might find some bite under your sock. But honestly, that race was just minding your P's and Q's, just being smart. And that finish, man, I knew he was gonna throw. I was just talking to him a second ago. He was saying, he was going to throw it, and he knew he had to do it. And if I was in his spot, I wouldn't have the guts because I would have ruined it for myself. But he did a good job. He did what he had to do. I mean, I lifted. I straight up lifted, and then he checked up as well because he's a smart driver and didn't want to wreck me. And, we made some contact through there, but it worked out, and I couldn't be happier, man.
Tell us how tricky the racetrack was here tonight. Obviously, Alex Bergeron drove by on the bottom. Then he hits a tractor tire, spins out. We saw a ton of guys bouncing off the wall, throwing the front end over, flipping over, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Tell the people at home how tough it is to get around this place.
Oh, it's impossible. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how anyone of us did it. Honestly, that track was. I don't know. I'm lucky to have been out front. I know if your nose is behind someone on that top line, it's hard. If your nose is behind someone on the bottom line, it's tough too. So. The only reason I won that race, we all know, is because Bergeron hit that tire. So, I just had to stick to the line that I knew that I could run. I knew if I went for that bottom, I would have finished like 7th, So I stuck with my guns. I knew I would smoke a tire more often than the wall. So I just did what I could, and Zach gave up a good fight. But I was, fortunately I had the lead on a track that was tough to pass on.
Pretty cool thing that that iRacing, USAC, and Flow Racing are doing at the end of the season. You're going to find yourself more than likely at the top of the point charts here at the end of this night and have a good start to the season. But pretty cool thing they're doing. They're going to give away a 2-day thing for Corey Kruzman's Sprint Car Midget Driving School at Ventura. And the funny thing is, man, I don't think a lot of people know this, that you live in Camarillo, pretty close to Ventura, and you're actually, I think you're going to be at Ventura this weekend for the USAC Western State Midget Race. You're not too far away from Ventura, and you go there quite often, so that'd be quite a good deal. I don't think the guys at iRacing would have to buy you a flight to get out to the racetrack for that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's about a 15-minute drive. And, I grew up racing around Ventura, and even Corey, when I first started racing after my first race, my very first mini-dwarf race of Ventura, Corey Kruzman signed my helmet. And I still have that helmet, actually, with an arm shot of me. So, that whole deal, everything means a lot to me. And, I work with you, Rod, a lot on the weekends with the broadcast stuff. So just the fact that USAC's getting involved with this and giving us kiddos a shot, not even kids, just, a lot of grown guys out here, really putting in time and effort trying to make this deal happen. And it's awesome, anything that can branch out into other communities that, because all of us sim racers are just trying to emulate the real thing. We're just trying to be the Justin Grants and the KTJs of the world. We're just trying to have our time pretending to do that and really just showing homage to what the real guys actually do. I mean, if I'm sweating doing this, on my desk, I can only imagine racing a real sprint car. So just more and more respect to those guys is what they do.
Well, those guys put on a show in real life, and you guys sure as heck did the same thing here tonight. Brennan, congratulations, and can you say, got any sponsors you want to thank here before we let you go?
I do not. As you guys saw, I run a blank car. Don't have any sponsors. I do want to thank D1RT. They are a bunch of great guys. They brought me in under their wing for this series, and it's one of those things. They're just such a good group of guys that they're comfortable to race with. They're fun to work with, and not much to worry about when you have good guys around you.
Well, you heard him right there, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking to sponsor a driver in this series, get a hold of Brennan Rogers.
Throw
Obviously,
money
he's
at Brennan.
fast. He wins the first race of the season. And in second tonight, congratulations once again, Brennan. But with our second place driver here tonight, Zach Leonhardi ends up second. And standing by with him is Tommy Rowe.
All right, Zach Leonardi able to start on the pole here this evening, falls back just a little bit, and then works his way back up through the field, challenges late in the race. Zach, walk us through those final few laps with that battle with Brendan Rogers, man.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I think if I think me and David wouldn't have got caught up there in the beginning of the race, I think I probably could have stayed in front of Brennan and won that thing, but it was awesome. I knew on that restart I thought I was a little bit better than Brennan on the top when we were about dead even. But I just started getting comfortable the last couple of restarts, and we went up there, and I got a really good first lap, and took the white flag, and I said, I got to go for it. So I knew I probably should have waited till turn 3 to get that little traction up off that I was restarting in, but I was so close I couldn't back off and mess up. But it was insane. I threw that slider, and then he crossed me, and I went to go through the other one, and I got to the middle of the corner. I realized I'm about to wipe him out, so I locked down the brakes, and I think at that point it almost worked out for me because he thought that I was going to complete the slider, and he lifted. But no, it made for a really good finish. So I'm just really pumped for this series, and starting off on pole and running second is awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. You're former World of Outlaw late model series champion here on iRacing. Talk us, what would it mean to you to pick up a championship here with the USAC wingless sprint cars as well?
It would mean a ton. I didn't do super good in the late model series this year. But ever since they announced this, I've been really excited for it. I love these non-wing cars. I love racing midgets and these non-wing cars a lot. It takes a lot more testing as these things are a handful. They're really unpredictable. That's what I like about them, though. It's an equalizer because no one out there really knows exactly how the car is going to handle every corner. You got to wrestle these things. So I'm really excited for it. I really hope we can pull it off. Slick Sim Sport really showed out tonight. We had a lot of speed. I'm really glad with the team I'm on and how we're going right now, and I think we can at least give a shot at pulling it off.
Well, you definitely drove a great race, put on a show for the fans watching out there at home. Any sponsors you want to thank before we let you go, bud?
Yeah, I want to give big thanks to iRacing, iFlag, Jeff Brown. Those guys are some of the best in the business. He's been sponsoring me about a year now. My team, Slick Sim Sport. You guys, iRacing, for putting this on. USAC for putting the non-wing sprint car deal on this year. I'm really excited for it. Like, when I went up to Charlotte last year for the World Outlaws deal, I told the iRacing guys, I'm like, if y'all can make a non-wing sprint car series, I'm going to run it because these things are so much fun on here.
Well, Zach, congratulations on your second place run here this evening, and good luck to you in the rest of the season, bud.
Thank you.
And standing by with our third place finisher tonight, it should be Randy. Randy, I think you're standing by there with David Heileman.
Yep, I'm stood by with him. And David, let's be real. I think we all noted you out as a great non-wing driver back when we were doing the Race Spot TV Dirt Nights, running the 360 cars. And we saw you out at Lima Land do your best Ric Flair impression with a nice little woo! And this was a very, very similar racetrack. You could really pole putt the bottom and make it work. Tell me about your night. It seemed like a fun racetrack to run out there in these non-wing cars.
Yeah, I was surprised through that first stint. A lot of guys make up time on the bottom, and I started up there with all my teammates, and I guess we all fell apart. I know there's contact between me and Zach, and then I saw Brennan on my inside. He was gonna throw a slider, and I was gonna accept it, and I just tapped the brakes, and it caused me to tap the wall, and it sent us back to like 9th, and we're probably honestly pretty fortunate to come back up through the field. Then we were working the bottom, and that's when Alex spun out, and I thought I was going to die part of that too, because me and Al were right behind him. But it's fortunate to get back up to third. I guess overall the night was good, but yeah, pretty disappointed. Because we thought we had the lead, and think if we could get out front there, we maybe would have been able to run away. But it was a really fun race overall.
And tell me a bit about this racetrack. Of course, Fairbury. We get it just last week. First time we've seen it in World Championship competition here on iRacing, and it put on a great show. It slickened up, and it was a very difficult racetrack to run. But that definitely seemed to help it. It seemed like the top was viable. Seemed like the bottom was viable. We watched the 14 of Alex Bergeron really pole putt his way past the entire train up top, up towards the front of the field before he unfortunately found one of those inside tire tractors, which everyone is gladly pointing out to me on our Facebook chat. But tell me about this racetrack, and with it coming out and being so new and putting on such a great show here tonight.
Yeah, I was pretty much just, try to get, used to it. Try to find the little kinks in the wall that's going to, bite you like it did to me. And so I probably destroyed 500 cars in the last week. But yeah, it's really, especially when that middle lane gets in there, like I kind of ran for my heat race. It definitely throws some toss-ups at you. Once it gets real slick like that, I thought it was going to be a little more slagger line. But when you got cars on your inside and outside, you can't really do that. So you got to kind of work with whatever you have. And but yeah, overall it's fun. Track, I wish there were a little more gripping it, but I also like that the top, you had to run the top so slow, so it was almost kind of safer for me personally, so I didn't really mind that part.
Well, congratulations regardless, David, on an amazing third-place run here. You put on a great show, and I think we're going to see you putting on a great show all season long. Before we let you go, who gets it done for the number 49 Slick Sim Sport non-wing sprint car?
Yep, USAC, all guys back at Slick Sim Sport, and then Two Brothers Stream Team with Ryan Martin, and Wicked Energy Gum, and thanks Flow TV, and just USAC for putting this on for us so we can run another World Championship this season.
So there he was. David Heileman runs third tonight, started fourth. I think he feels he left a little bit on the table. I think another driver that looked really, really good, but didn't have good luck quite go his way in the heat race, had to start ninth, but managed to battle his way back up to fourth, is the number 74 of Adam Elby, who now stood by with the ever-illustrious Chase Rodman.
Oh, thank you for those kind words there, Randy. Yeah,
I didn't
Adam,
mean it.
We're standing by. Adam, we're standing by with you now, man. You started ninth, and I think it was like lap 4 or 5. I said something, and you were up to second, man. This track was pretty racy tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Once we get these tracks a little bit more slicked off, a lot of people think they don't race as good, but at this level of competition, I think people they really slow down and tend to hit their marks. And once everything slows down, it allows for closer racing. And as you could see, I felt like it was pretty good tonight. Yeah, it was tough, but we're pros, and that's what we're here to do, is to put on a good race and put on a show for the fans. You could tell that myself and Bergeron and a few others came from the mid pack, just rolling the bottom. Leaders were up on the top, and you could really make anything work. So I had a lot of fun on this track, and hope we could keep them slick like this.
Pretty cool deal that happened to you there last week or maybe the week before that. But, some guys noticed you, the Wicked Cushion guys noticed you on iRacing, saw you running up front a lot in these World Championship Series, and you had the opportunity to fly up to Washington and run a midget up there. Tell us about that and how that all came together. It's pretty cool to see the guys getting involved with sim racing and having these guys run a real-life car.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of a deal, and hopefully we can get back together and do it again. But, that was all thanks to Wicked Cushion Esports, Wicked Energy Gum, and Galen and Carlos Stewart, the Northwest Focus Midget Series. They came together with DOB, and they're doing a driver search, and we actually ended up running second in points to our teammate James Edens, like usual. And they still wanted both of us to come out and drive it, so I think James is going to wait on that, but I went out there, and we had one heck of a time. We raced Friday night and Saturday night at Skagit with the Outlaws. Unfortunately, Friday night the motor blew up, so we were up early Saturday morning, put a new one in for there, and we ran really well, and I can't wait to get together with them again and have another opportunity like that. It was definitely pretty cool seeing how big sim racing is getting with people trusting sim racers to get in their real life car. It's you crash, you don't just hit a reset button. It's expensive, so for them to have me come out, trust me to run their car, and all that stuff was definitely a big deal, and I can't thank them enough for that.
Sounds like an awesome deal, man. Well, a solid run for you here tonight. And before we let you go, who helps you out there on that 74 car?
I got to thank all my guys over at Swindell Speed Lab. I feel like we had a lot of speed all week. We've been practicing. I feel like this is one of our better cars, especially for myself. I got to thank all those guys over there for making my job easier with setups and everything. If I didn't have them, tuning the car for me, I wouldn't be running up front like I was. I also got to thank our partners, Bell Helmets, South Bay Partners, and Wise Organics. And then also Race Spot TV for broadcasting this, and iRacing and USAC for coming together and putting all this stuff on. It's a good time, and hopefully we can put on a good show for all the fans.
It definitely was a good time. We're looking forward to the next 8 weeks. And our fifth place runner, Cole Cabre, could not make it into the announcer's booth. I think he's already headed down the road to the next racetrack. So, Randy, are you going to be able to close us out here?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to. I know that Cole Cabrera, we're seeing him in a modified tomorrow night for the eNASCAR Ignite Series at Martinsville. He's running for the chance to get into some real race cars as well. So Adam Appleby just talked about that. So Cole's going to be taking part in that. But Tommy, I'm going to go to you first. You were the fill here as Mr. Chase Rodman couldn't decide whether or not he wanted to be here or not tonight. Luckily, he decided to be here, but you're here all night. What's your thoughts on the first of this opening round here at Fairbury? It's an absolutely amazing race from the opening of the heats all the way up to the main event. It really slicked off, and the track really provided a great show for these non-wing guys, didn't it?
Definitely very impressed with this new Fairbury Speedway that iRacing has put out. Definitely put out a quality racetrack, and these drivers proved why they are some of the best out here running these non-wing sprint cars, able to put it 3, 4, sometimes even 5 wide racing. Very exciting to watch and a lot of fun to call up here with you guys.
And Chase, we go from fast quarter-mile racetrack, bullring, to one of the most iconic for USAC competition, fast quarter-mile bull ring. We head to Kokomo Speedway in 7 days' time, September the 18th, for the second round of this championship for what is a string of 3 quarter-mile racetracks to kick off this series. And when it comes to non-wing sprint cars, especially out there in the Midwest, for you and me being California guys, it's really probably all about Paris, let's be real. But start getting out there Midwest, I can't think of Kokomo's probably got to be, top 3 of the non-wing sprint car tracks in the world, in the United States?
Yeah, I would definitely think so, especially for these non-wing cars, man. I mean, all the tracks out in the Indiana area are absolutely incredible for this type of racing. But Kokomo, I think, takes the cake for all of them. And I think a lot of drivers in the Real World Series would tell you that exact same thing. They just wrapped up the Kokomo Smackdown there a couple weeks ago out there. So that was a fantastic show as well. So I'm expecting more of that, more great racing at Kokomo here on iRacing.com as well. We saw some good stuff with the late models and the wing sprint cars, but I think it's going to be a little bit different with these non-wing cars. I think it's going to be even better. I told you a long time ago, Randy, that I think this is going to be the best series as far as the racing goes. I mean, obviously the late models, we had a lot of different winners, but I think with this series we're going to see some of the best racing we've ever seen on iRacing.
I think you're right about that. It's going to put on a great show, and we've already seen that with this season opener. And with that, we are going to close it out here on Race Spot TV, the iRacing Esports Network. First thing, we got to thank everyone who's made this championship possible, all of our partners. It was originally supposed to be myself, Tommy Rowe Jr., and Hugo Louis. Hugo had problems, so we end up moving on over to Mr. Chase Rodman coming in behind the scenes. So Chase and Tommy, our thanks go out to you for joining us and making this possible. And of course, all the partners we have that makes this series possible. Our thanks go out to the United States Auto Club. Everyone probably likely knows them better as USAC for getting this championship going. Of course, iRacing as well for getting it happening, and Flow Racing for all the support that they show us. If you want more esports competition here on iRacing, it is a packed week for esports competition. We had peak last night at Indianapolis. Tonight we of course had the USAC World Championship Series rolling at Fairbury, and then tomorrow night is going to be the finale of the eNASCAR Ignite Series. They go to one of the most iconic half-mile racetracks in the world for 100 laps at Martinsville for those drivers to fight for their championship. And then on this weekend, we have the Porsche Esports Super Cup coming at you from Laguna Seca. So all sorts of esports competition this week, and we hope to see you for all of that, and of course next week for the second round of this championship at Kokomo. So until then, we will see all of you next time. Bye-bye.